The Ferrari, the McLaren P1, and the Porsche 918. Three absolute leviathans of the hypercar world, but the big question is, in Forza Horizon 5 at least, which one is the best? With the Grand Tour sadly being announced to be ending next year, I thought, what better way to pay homage and begin to pay tribute to the Grand Tour series than to go back to where it all started, the Holy Trinity. If you go on to enjoy this video, then please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And without further ado, let battle commence. To start off with, let's have a look at the most appropriate place to start and look at engine sound. First off then, let's start with the Ferrari, shall we? Holy Christ on a bike, I think I just ascended. It's in a million out of 10. Like, most car engine noises can't even compare. Alright, next up then, it's the McLaren. Let's see. Oh, raw. I must say, a very nice and raw V8 engine sound. What the fuck? Now it's time for the Porsche. Okay, I must admit, all of them were very good. Well, one of them was exceptional, actually. It's not even, the Ferrari wins. It's not even close. Between the McLaren and the Porsche, though, it becomes a little bit more tricky, actually. Do you go for that raw and grittier V8 sound from the McLaren? Or do you go for the slightly tamer V8 from the Porsche? For me, my order goes the Ferrari in first, McLaren takes second, and the Porsche in third. I prefer that raw and gritty sound instead of the slightly neutered version from the Porsche. Now, let's do what every young man in my generation does and focus on looks. After removing the, quite frankly, heinous paint job from the Porsche, here we are looking at all of the cars, and I must say, all of them look ace. It's not even close, to be honest with you. A clean design from Porsche, and it gets progressively more mad as you look down. However, I have a slight problem with the Porsche. I don't want my door to open like a Vauxhall Corsa's. If I'm paying £1 trillion, I expect more. Like the McLaren, for instance. Oi! Looks like an absolute fighter jet. Goodness me, an absolute beauty that is. Although, there is a good thing about the Porsche. You can fit several bottles of cordial in that boot space. Meanwhile, in the Ferrari camp, while it is the craziest and most mental looking of all of them, unfortunately, if you want to fit a bottle of cordial in that boot, you have to cut it in 4. And that's not very safe. But, as my generation will attest to, it's not about practicality. It's about looks. And the winner in the looks department, for me personally, is the McLaren. I really like the McLaren. It's just enough of a mental car to look at whilst being absolutely beautiful at the same time. An absolute dream to look at. Slapped into second place is the Ferrari. And then in last, despite being the cleanest looking of them all, is the Porsche. Well, unlike in real life, in fact completely the opposite to it, the Porsche isn't doing very well at all. But maybe it can claw something back as we look at top speed. With a speed stat of 9.1, the McLaren was bound to do well. Here we are, ripping it down the highway, 242 already, and in the end, as you can see as we head down the hill, the McLaren peters out at over 250 miles an hour at just flickering on 253 miles an hour. It couldn't get any higher than that, so that is the maximum recorded speed And that's Bugatti Veyron territory. I genuinely thought the McLaren was bound to win this. But then came the Ferrari, already at 248 miles an hour, while the McLaren was flickering at 253. The Ferrari solidly hit 253. And then exceeded that at 254 miles an hour. But then it gets better. As we get strobed by a speed trap in a few seconds, this last downhill got to 255 miles an hour. And I celebrated by sending it into space. And as for the Porsche, well, it could only manage a measly 241. Well, the evidence is there in front of your very eyes. And here's how the leaderboard's unfolding. The Ferrari in the lead by just 1 point ahead of the McLaren. Surprisingly, though, like I said, opposite to real life, the Porsche languishing in last. Oh, no. Well, surely the next challenge will be better for it, right? The acceleration and braking test. I know it's not the most efficient name, okay? Can you stop complaining, please? Launch control on each of these cars, as they have in real life. Lights out, and away we go with the Porsche, and it absolutely rockets off the line to 100, back to 0, before you can even blink, to be honest with you. Let's see what the Italian stallion has in store. Launch control, away we go, and wheel spin as soon as the process is over. That rear-wheel drive hinders the Ferrari as it comes to a clean stop, but the Porsche visibly got there sooner. And finally, the McLaren, and unfortunately, the savagery of the power delivery really lets it down here, badly. Slowest to 100 miles an hour, and if you look left, it's lost quite badly. So here's the number crunching that I did for this, because this all gets a bit technical. The fastest from 0 to 100 was, in fact, the Porsche 918. I know that's shocking, but its four-wheel drive did the job. 4.3 seconds the Porsche managed to do it in, the Ferrari in 4.7, the McLaren edging on nearly 5 seconds. And then the whole process, 0 to 100 and back to 0 again. You guessed it, the winner was the Porsche 918. 6.457 seconds, 0 to 100 and back to 0. Ferrari in second and McLaren in third. And those images, well, the evidence is there for you all to see. So on the leaderboard, the Porsche has its first win of the day. So I'll give it a quick clap. Now back to proceedings then. What's next? Ah, yes. The Hot Lap Challenge. First up to take up the gauntlet is the Ferrari LaFerrari. And he's off straight away, or I'm off actually. A little bit of wheel spin on the line, but it's caught up with straight away as we hurtle down towards turn number 1. The car felt extremely light here, actually. It felt like I could dart it in. Good confidence on the power on the way out. The car now hunkers down as we head through the high speed. Not a hint of lift off there. Absolute beautiful compliance from the Ferrari LaFerrari. Pinch it into that first apex. Hope we don't get too much wheel spin on the way out, and not a hint of it as we now head on down towards the hairpin, or up actually, because it's on an uphill. Hit that apex, and that was lovely. A little bit of slip on the way out, but that's absolutely fine. It's all kept together with a boot full of power and grit towards this corner, coming in like a bull out of a china shop at absolute full beans, and using a bit of the dirt on the way out for a track extension. Now the last corner comes in. We won't see the apex because the camera operator's inept, but a clean lap there and across the line. Well then, a compelling gauntlet from the Ferrari LaFerrari. Well, but let's see what the others have in store. Let's see what the McLaren can do. And we're off straight away, like a bullet out of a gun. We are not waiting around. We fire out, and like a loose cannon, we hurtle our way down towards the first corner. Again, despite the fact this is rear-wheel drive, the front end complied beautifully. Felt so light in the corners, and it felt like I could throw it around and do what I wanted with it. Through the left-hand, there's a tiny bit of a lift there. The McLaren's, well, Achilles heel really was a lack of aerodynamic grip. But through the right-handers there, you wouldn't think it had any problems, because my God, that was clean as you like. Heading towards the hairpin, hope the front pinches in towards that apex, using a bit of the dirt on the inside. if anything, a little bit conservative going into that corner. I could probably have taken even more entry speed, but we'll never know now as we head into the left-hander, hit the apex, and blast out of the other end like a Saturn V rocket, and now sending it into space towards the final corner. Turn it in, a little bit of understeer towards the wall, almost shaving it, but we've done it. Across the line in the McLaren P1. Again, another very solid benchmark. But of course, there is one left, and possibly the most anticipated contender of them all. The four-wheel drive Porsche. And we're off. Not even a hint of wheel spin, really, as we absolutely cruise missile our way towards turn one. That acceleration prowess of that four-wheel drive Porsche coming into full effect straight away. Although having to use a chock full of the brakes there to make sure the car actually pinches in, but at high speed, that's no problem. The car hunkers down wonderfully. The aerodynamics are astonishing at high speed. It's in that low speed though. Look at how the front end washes out into that double right-hander. Making our way towards the hairpin once again, where the Ferrari and the McLaren have done well. Again, a little bit conservative on the way in, but you can blast out straight away. No worries at all on the traction side of things. So much confidence in the car as we head into the left-hander. Lay on the brakes as you dare again. Using that acceleration and braking test to our advantage. It's one more corner to go for the Porsche 918. A bit of a slide in, a four-wheel skid, but we missed the barrier and across the line we go. Goodness me. Well, great gauntlets. Fascinating fun from all three cars on display there. But which one came out on top? I hear you cry. Well, let's go in the order they went in. Let's start off with the Ferrari The Ferrari did it in 59.593 seconds. That is incredible. Under 1 minute at the Horizon Mexico circuit. But of course, there are two more challengers that could have easily done the same. So next up, of course, was the McLaren that went. And the McLaren did it in 1 minute, 0.1. So 6/10 off the Ferrari Goodness me. Well, normally, that's a very little amount of time indeed, but in supercar terms, that is almost years. But let's see. The most anticipated contender, the Porsche 918. That did it in 1 minute, 0.4. 1 minute, 0.4. It lost. It lost. How did it lose? This was the one challenge, apart from the last one, where it's supposed to smoke the others. How has it come last? Well, the numbers don't lie, and neither do I. That's what the leaderboard looks like. The Ferrari with, well, quite the commanding lead at this point. And, well, I think that's the end of the... How much time do we have? Oh, no, we do have time for one more challenge. And this is the biggest question of them all in the hypercar world. Which one is best at cross-country? Cross-country? Okay, well, I can upgrade them. I can at least get them ready. Bone stock. Are you serious, man? Oh, yes, I am. What the fuck? I bet you can guess where this is going. Yeah, they're all terrible. They were all absolutely terrible. And, I mean, well, evidence is right here, plastered in front of your very retinas, as over the jump we go and the Porsche decides to become a door wedge into the ground, which is already a terrible start, to be honest with you, but... Well, I mean, it was the least offensive, I guess is the right way of putting it. The Porsche was the least offensive, and it's easy to see why. The four-wheel drive obviously helped out tons on the dirty surfaces, gave me the most amount of confidence to throw the car round, even if it became a door wedge. The McLaren was absolutely terrible. I'm not even kidding. The McLaren was so bad at cross-country. I would have preferred a JCB digger over using the McLaren on this terrain. Plus, the thing with the McLaren has the durability of Gouda. Nice exhaust. The Ferrari genuinely surprised me on the cross-country bone stock. Like, it had every reason to not be good at this. Rear-wheel drive, it was best on the track, so therefore, on dirt, it should have been cataclysmic. A Woodlouse should have handled better, but in fact, that Woodlouse got flattened because the Ferrari did admirably. considering the conditions. So well done to the prancing stallion. The gammy horse. So after all the numbers have been crunched, after all the calculations have been done, after some more running of yet more numbers, I can confirm your winner for this video of the Holy Trinity is the Lamborghini Aventador. I'm kidding, it's the Ferrari, if you couldn't tell already. But that's just the tests that I've done. Perhaps there are more tests that you've conducted where you can confidently tell me who you thought was the real winner of this Holy Trinity battle. Do let me know in the comments or in the straw poll in the description. I would love to hear your thoughts. That concludes this Holy Trinity battle on Forza Face Off. It's just a name. Grand Tour, please don't sue me for that. Once again, if you did enjoy, like and subscribe. And until the next video, have a wonderful rest of your day. And I will see you very soon.